This podcast is brought to you by sleepyj.com/beats. If you need a beat for your next album, mixtape, or demo project, check out sleepyj.com/beats. That's SLEEPEJ.com/beats. Warning, this podcast may offend some people unintentionally. So if you get offended easily, you are advised to turn off now. And if you're still here listening, thanks and enjoy the show. What's up with the world? It's your boy Sleepy J. You are tuned in to Sleep Talking. I appreciate you guys for checking me out. I know some of you guys have been waiting a long time. I've been waiting a long time. This podcast has been something I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. For over a year, maybe almost 2 years now. So much that I want to talk to you guys about. So much things I want to get to. But this is my introduction episode. So if you guys don't know who I am, what I'm all about, what I want to do with this podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys are here to get to know me, and more or less we'll explore everything that's going on and what I want to do with this podcast and all that good stuff. So again, I appreciate everything you guys have done as far as for supporting me by just clicking that button and listening. Trying a new app called Anchor to launch this. I've been trying to figure out ways to launch this podcast for a minute. Went through a couple of different name changes and finally settled on Sleep Talking. Mostly because I'm going to do this by myself. I might ramble on from time to time like people do when they're sleep talking. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you don't know who I am, go by the name Sleepy J. I'm a rap artist from St. Louis. Also a music producer, manager, record label owner, all the things that an independent artist does when it comes to being an artist or label owner. I can do a little bit of everything. I've gone to school for audio production, TV, video production, all those little good things. I've done all that stuff, so that's what makes me the expert in what I do. As far as for me musically, I've done countless mixtapes from being featured on other people's mixtapes. I've done my own countless number of mixtapes. I will not list all of them off. You'll have to find a bio somewhere on the internet with my name, Sleepy J, and see all the things that I've done if you're that serious and want to know. I've done 3 albums, 1 EP. Currently about to start recording another. Looks like it's going to be an album. I'll tell you more about that as it develops. Yeah, so Sleepy J, rap artist, music producer, manager, all that good stuff. Now I'm a podcaster, soon to be a YouTuber as well. I also used to do college late night radio whenever in my younger days. That was a good time, learning how to run ads and how to change songs in and out of the radio world. I wasn't supposed to change as many songs as I did. I actually, since I did the late night show, there wasn't anybody there to monitor me, make sure that I was running their, the word. They had a playlist that played all the songs in a order, and then they would give us like 1 to 6 songs depending on time of day, songs that we could switch out on our own. But whenever I came in, I was like, yeah, you know what, tonight we're going to play nothing but oldies. And I play all the oldie songs, my favorites that night. And then maybe another night I'd be like, oh, we're going to play all the diss tracks that were going on at the time. And I had my own personal show that I did it. It was definitely the Sleepy J show, late nights. I had a few callers that would call in just because I would just get it in and do my own thing. Had they found out, they probably would have kicked me off air or told me I had to apply for a Saturday night job, but I like to do it during the week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Again, it was a late show, so it was like 8 air. And at that school, most people were off campus by 5 o'clock. So if you were there at that time, you weren't really tripping. You weren't really there. But it was a good time, good experience. I learned how to talk to myself in a room like I'm doing now. Now you know a little bit about doing as far as for music and college radio and things like that. Talk about my musical taste. Let's talk about what I want this podcast to be. I want this podcast to be about music. I want to talk about, more than anything, I want to talk about new music, old music, music topics, just in general, people's love of music. Now, I do mostly hip hop and R&B type of music. That's what I like mostly. That's what I listen to mostly. Listen to pop too. So like those are going to be my main topics that I will listen to and talk to you guys about. Um, I hope that you guys are willing to hear my POV on that. Point of view, if you guys don't know what POV is. But when it comes to this podcast, man, I was really looking for one, for my voice to be heard as a podcaster. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts and radio shows, New York, LA type stuff, and I just, in LA they have close to my voice and opinion when it comes to like the Latin voice or whatever. I mean, I feel like we're a big part of hip hop, even though we don't have the representation. I mean, we've had it in there sprinkled out throughout the years, but that's another discussion for another time. I was looking to get into the podcast game. One, exposure for me and my music and everything. Two, I wanted to give my opinion on a lot of these topics that I hear in the news or on the radio, whether it's trending topics, whether it's news topics or anything like that. Like I want to respond to a lot of people when I hear them late. So I can't really respond in real time. But I wanted to voice my opinion because I think a lot of people maybe like me, where they think things through a lot after they've heard a lot of different opinions on it and they just try and form an idea. So hopefully I can give you a non-biased opinion, or if I do give you a biased opinion, it's very informed in my arguments. But yeah, I wanted to talk about music. There's I guess my biggest influence when it comes to the podcast that I wanted to do was Letty Martinez. She used to be on Big Boy's Neighborhood. She does Genius Media now, I think, or whatever website is. But she did a solo podcast. She talks deeply about music and just things that go on in her life. So I was like, you know what? I can do that. Originally, I wanted a podcast where I interviewed people about their love of music, when it happened, and all that. And I will still do that. I still want to do that. I still want to interview my friends, my family, other musicians, other people in music, just anybody who loves music, and talk to them about when they started loving music, what it is, we'll dive deep in those discussions about music. But it's hard to get people to commit to a podcast when they don't know who you are or what you're doing. So me being the person that I am all about creating my own situations. And in creating my own situations, I was like, you know what? I already have the equipment for studio because, well, I do my own studio work. I create my own beats and all that stuff with this music. So I have a microphone. I got, the things I need to record myself. So let's start a podcast. And again, kind of procrastinated a lot. I wanted to get this done a long time ago, but I let little things be trivial and slow me down. But those days are behind me. I'm doing this. I'm being trendy with everybody else, I guess. But yeah, I really wanted to talk to people about like, oh man, that song. That was the first song I started dancing with a girl to, or that's the first song that I remember learning the lyrics to, things like that. Like, this is things that like I geeked out about music. I read lyrics. I looked up where these people were from, and I get really into music and entertainment things. I kind of geek out and look into like who they are, where they're from. Look up strange facts. Well, not strange facts, but like fun facts about them. Like, oh, did you know they went to this school or that school? I don't know why. It's just been always something I did. So you might hear me go into those type of tyrants from time to time. But again, back to the music, back to what I am here to talk to you about. So while I will be interviewing other people about their taste in music and where it all came from, I figure you should know that about me. Um, so let's talk about my musical taste, how it was formed. Um, I grew up listening to 50s to 70s music from my mom. That 50s rock and roll, Buddy Holly, Elvis, Richie Valens type stuff. That's what my mom grew up listening to. So she often had those old records playing in the house on Saturday morning when she would clean up. I got introduced to, the 60s and 70s Motown classic stuff from my mom because, Saturday garage sailing or whatever, going to the store with her, that's what was playing on the radio. My 80s taste in music, I had an older brother. Well, I have two older brothers. And one of them was teenager in the 80s. So most of my 80s influence comes from like that Tiffany chick from the 80s, New Edition, Run DMC, Michael, obviously, all that stuff. Like that's what he was into. So if I was around him, those are the kind of people I would listen to. Also, 80s and 90s type of music, that metal music like Motley Crue, kind of punk music, Nirvana, Metallica, Aerosmith. That came from both my brothers and uncles. When I was younger, I would go to work with my uncles, and that's the kind of music that they played at KC95. If you're from the St. Louis area, that's like oldies rock type music, and that's what we listened to while we worked. And that's where that taste of music. So I can listen to a little bit of everything, not as long as I can hear the lyrics or enjoy the music, the melodies, and all that stuff. I pretty much like it. I can enjoy it, or things of that nature. Uh, let's see, where can we go from here? Let's talk about my first rap music I was probably exposed to, which was kind of commercial, kind of weird. 80s, 90s type stuff again. MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Snow. Not Snow the product, but Snow. I don't even know. He was like a reggae artist from Canada. He had that Lick You Down song. I don't know. If you really want to look into it, you can. If you're around my age, you probably said, "Oh shit, I remember that." But yeah, that was big early '90s music. Like everybody listened to it. Before I had my own opinion on what I wanted to listen to. Those are things, whatever was on the radio, and people around me were listening to. That's probably what I listened to. My first really like this thing, rap or hip hop thing was probably Bone Thugs and Harmony. I wasn't supposed to listen to them. I found it in my older brother, the middle child's tape deck, and I was listening to it. He found out, and he was telling my mom I probably shouldn't listen to it because it was very dirty because of all the cussing in it. So I wasn't supposed to. So obviously, I was drawn to listen to it. My first tape I was actually able to buy. I went to the store to buy, not buy, because I think my first tape I bought was probably like a Milli Vanilli tape at a garage sale after they got exposed. But and I think my mom bought it for me just because she thought I would like it. But the first tape I remember buying was Montel Jordan's "This Is How We Do It" "This Is How We Do It" album. Now I thought that was hip hop at the time. I still don't really know. I mean, I guess he's an R&B singer, but it's very '90s and it kind of has an upbeat to it. So I always thought it was like a rap CD until I found out later on that he was a R&B singer. But Montel Jordan's "This Is How We Do It" was my shit. I loved it. I played it so much that I think I actually wore the tape out and it snapped on me. My first CD I ever bought was the Nutty Professor soundtrack, which I know sounds funny, but when I was growing up, soundtracks actually had really good songs on them. People actually bought soundtracks, and that one had a lot of songs on there that I liked. It had a Montel Jordan song on there, to be exact. It had Case on there, Foxy Brown. Man, it was just like a really dope uh, mix of artists on there, R&B and hip hop on there. Uh, that was my first CD I bought. Uh, and when I listen to it, it just makes me think about girl crushes and just like, oh man, that was my jam. My first rap CD I bought that I can remember, I might have bought something else, but I'm pretty sure my first rap CD was I'm About It, Master P's I'm About It. Again, it was a soundtrack, but at that time I didn't even know who Master P was or the movie I'm About It was. I just know a friend of mine was like, "Oh, the I'm About It soundtrack is dope," and da 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 da. And we were in school, and everyone was talking about this Master P stuff. So I went to go buy this I'm About It soundtrack. Actually, I don't even think I was trying to buy the I'm About It soundtrack. I think I was trying to buy Ghetto Dope, but I'm About It was the first one that I seen and the only one there, and I was like, no one's talking about this one. And again, it had a bunch of people on there, a bunch of different songs on there. I remember like Pimp C was on a song that had, I don't know, you know how the Master P run if you know who Master P was in the '90s. But that was my first rap CD, which led me into the whole No Limit phase, and I was like hard body No Limit. Like they couldn't put out an album I wasn't trying to buy. Uh, yeah, so that's my musical taste in a nutshell. We'll explore different songs from time to time, different albums, things that I like, don't like. Um, I'll talk to you about more relevant artists. I'm not gonna, chat your ear off about all these oldies and people that aren't necessarily relevant to today's music. I'll talk to you about, I'll talk to you about some of my nostalgia, but I'll also talk to you about some of these new people that I like. And I'll explain who those people are when we get to those topics. Um, I'm still pretty current, pretty relevant. There's some things I'm a little late on. I try to stay up on it. Hard to really stay up with everything all the time. Um, and if I didn't mention this earlier, I'm gonna try and give you 30 minutes of content every week. So hopefully you guys can carve out 30 minutes of your week out for me. And while I'm still learning how to do this, please bear with me because I'm learning mic placement and learning the new app that I'll be using to post this up with, and I'm learning analytics work and all that good stuff. I'm just trying to figure out a rhythm on how I'm going to be able to deliver this to you regularly, a format that you guys are going to be able to digest with me. And finding topics is going to be hard. Like, I don't want to just get on here and ramble and talk. I want to actually have like something you guys look forward to. If you like sports and you want to talk about sports, I'll get there. Actually, that's going to be my next. But I just want you guys to know I'm working out my formula. So the first few episodes, might come fast, may come short. Working out a formula on how I can be consistent on what I'm delivering to you, but also valuable. Like I want it to be valuable to you guys on what I'm delivering to you guys. I want it to be something that you guys are enjoying. This app on Anchor is pretty cool. Like I can pose questions and you guys can call in and leave comments or answer whatever questions. And I want to do a daily question or a weekly question for you guys, and you guys can call in and say your parts. But what everything is a work in progress. We'll get there when we get there. Maybe I'll set up a email for you guys to mail in questions or things like that. Help me deliver content you guys want. But again, those are ambitions and goals that I'm trying to get. Talk sports that I like. You don't know, like football. Big surprise there. Who doesn't like football in America? Um, but I like football. Mostly high school football because those players are playing for the love of the sport or ambitions of what they want to do. They're not necessarily worried about like, oh, I can't get hurt because of my contracts or I'm, this or that. They're playing hard and they're enjoying it. And I really enjoy watching a good high school football game. But next is professional because, well, they're the easiest to watch. I don't really get into college football too much, by too much at all. So when we talk sports, we're going to talk football probably. And more specifically, we'll probably talk about Cowboys. And I do a fantasy football league. And I'll probably talk about my team and the players that I have on that team when football season comes around. So if you are into football, you have that to look forward to. That'll be fun. I like hockey. I can sit down and watch hockey every now and then. I'm not necessarily like a big, I love this team or that team. Occasionally I'll watch a game here and there with relatives or whatever the case may be. Boxing is my shit. So if you don't know, I am a big boxing fan. My two favorites in the let's say three. I think my three favorite boxers right now: the heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. But he's a bad motherfucker. If you don't know, you probably should look him up, find out what he's about. Canelo Alvarez, despite his recent drops of being dirty with what is it, steroids or whatever they're accusing him of. I don't know the situation really. I haven't really followed it too deeply, but I think he said it's like the meat that he's been eating that has those steroids in it that made him drop dirty. So Canelo's still like he's my favorite middleweight boxer. And next to him is Danny Swift Garcia. If you don't know who that guy is, man, he's not as impressive when it comes to like big knockouts, but he's impressive in the sense that he's often an underdog and he still holds on and still wins a lot. So those are like some of my favorite boxers in the. Now, I do like MMA fighting, but I don't follow it strongly. Like I catch a fight like every now and then when you hear about big fights like those Ronda Rousey fights that happened the past couple years. I've caught those. I've caught, I caught a lot of it in the early, like 2010s time, like 2008 through like 2012 probably. I've slowed down. I catch a fight here and there. I don't get the chance to sit down and watch it like I'd like to. But if I hear about a fighter or something like that, I do try and watch it. I try to be conversational. I don't try to be behind on trending topics. So when fights and things like that come up, I try to be able to be part of that conversation. If you guys want to talk TV shows, I have a few shows that I like to watch, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about, like The Walking Dead. Who doesn't watch The Walking Dead? I like Blackish, Grownish, Roseanne. I know some people don't, but I like Roseanne. I grew up watching Roseanne, so when it came back on, I turn it on every now and then, have a good laugh about it, how ridiculous they still are. Family Guy is my shit, even though I don't watch it as often as I used to. Family Guy still makes me laugh, and sometimes they even make me think deep about some things. A couple of my guilty pleasures are growing up hip hop, Love and Hip Hop. The Love and Hip Hop franchise, I guess I pretty much like all of them for the most part. The messier they are, the better they are. I don't really care about their drama. I like the real artists that they have on there. And I guess some of the drama I like, but not the girl drama. Like I like when the guys have their drama where they're like shit to each other. But because usually when guys fight, they're sticking up for somebody, or girls fight because they're mad at each other and like someone called someone a name on those shows. I like growing up hip hop. If you don't know what it is, it's like a lot of stars, a lot of 90s stars or 80s stars, kids, Angela Simmons, Bow Wow, Romeo. They're on different, they got different ones for different franchises. They got Growing Up Hip Hop, Atlanta, and then they have Growing Up Hip Hop, the original. But I just like it. It's interesting to see people that grew up in the industry with people at their fingertips. They're able to call these, their friends' parents, their parents' friends. Sorry, their parents' friends who have been in the industry with all these contacts, whether it be, Russell Simmons, who had major label contacts, or uh, clothing line contacts. Like, they're able to set up things. So it's just interesting to watch how they move and do things. So yeah, those are some of the shows that I like to watch. If you want to know what kind of movies I like, obviously I like all the Marvel movies. Who doesn't like the Marvel movies? I want to talk to you about Infinity Wars, but I'll save that for episode 2. A lot of the stuff I'm just kind of giving you a rundown. A lot of it we'll get into more conversations about in episode 2 and 3 and so on as we continue. I just really want you to get an idea of who I am, things I want to talk about, stuff. Podcasts I like. So where I'll probably get a lot of topics that I listen to will probably be from The Breakfast Club, which isn't a podcast. It's a Breakfast Club, Big Boys Neighborhood. Those are 2 radio stations I listen to regularly on YouTube. I listen to Hot 97 too, Ebro in the Morning. Has some interesting takes on things. So those are probably where you'll hear a lot of my topics that I come from. That's where you'll probably hear a lot of the topics that I get. That's where they'll come from. Sorry. But aside from that, I listen to, everyone has a podcast from The Breakfast Club. So Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne. Brilliant Idiots is like my favorite podcast right now. I listen to them almost every week. I tune into Envy and his wife's show, The Casey Crew. Just, I just listen to it when I'm working or something like that. Same with Angela Yee, just to kind of, I can't listen to music all the time. I mean, I can, but after a while, you exhaust all this music you like, and you just want to listen to something else. So I listen to podcasts and audiobooks while I'm working or working out, just to kind of keep me from getting bored. I switch it up throughout all those things all night long. But I listen to ATL Monster. If you don't know, that podcast is pretty interesting. They're Ace from I think it's just an interesting podcast that I like to listen to. Letty Martinez used to have a Letty Set Go podcast. Now she's got the Down to Ride podcast. She's a little inconsistent right now, but I still support her. I like to check out a lot of her stuff. Gary Owens is pretty consistent. I like Gary Owens' podcast. I listen to it as much as I can whenever he updates those. That is the Get Some podcast. And I like to read. Got to see them live recently. That was dope. But I don't listen to them often, especially like if it's been a big week for Beyonce. Not that I have anything against Beyonce, but I can only listen to so much praising of Beyonce in a day. It just, the Beehive is real, and they definitely go hard whenever she does anything. And sometimes I'm in the mood for it. More times than not, I'm not. So whenever she's done something, a new performance or anything like that, like Coachella, I probably don't tune into the read that week just because I can't. Again, no shade to her. We're here for entertainment. That doesn't. But those are the podcasts that I like. I want to talk about the current topics each week. So as things happen, depending on when I start posting these podcasts, whether it's on Mondays, Tuesdays, or wherever. I think I want to do a Tuesday release. I don't think a lot of podcasts release on Tuesday, so it might be a sweet spot for me. But yeah, I want to start doing those, and I want to have the current topics where I'll talk about like things like Kanye recently said some stupid shit in the news recently. Maybe we'll talk about some Meek Mill things. There's a lot of things that we could talk about. On YouTube, I watch this guy, Philip DeFranco, and he does news topics 5 days a week. And I probably get some topics from there, some things that I want to talk about, some things I think about. So yeah, we'll do that. Maybe we'll do some noteworthy people news, like maybe something good happens in the news. I hope we can do a segment for that. I want to recognize people for their good deeds or the good things that I hear about. If I hear about something, hopefully, we can do that. I also want to do a bad advice segment. Mostly, I don't want to be held accountable for any advice that I give you, but if you want some of my bad advice, maybe you guys call in, ask a question, I'll answer it for you guys on the next week, or again an email that you guys could send me, and I'll answer it there. But as you're listening to my podcast, if you could do me a favor, whenever we, these start going live and I'm starting to do consistent, like let's get a hashtag for myself going. Let's get a hashtag Sleep Talking podcast. That way I can see how many people are actually listening and what they're enjoying or whatever. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much my first episode. So I want to thank you guys for checking me out. And enjoying, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully it's not too dry for you. The next episode, hopefully I will dive into more topics, more current topics like the Kanye thing or whatever's in the news, whatever's trendy. We'll talk more about that next time, unless I have a guest. My guest, I'll do interviews and I'll talk to them about the things like I said before, about how their love of music and things like that. When I'm doing these by myself, we're going to pretty much talk about these hot topics and noteworthy things and all that. So, again, I'm about to get off here, but before I go, I want to motivate you guys for a minute. So if you guys don't know me personally, because I'm assuming most of you people that are listening right now are going to be friends and family, and it's going to grow out from there. But if you guys don't know who I am, I just recently went back to college a couple years to music production. Struggled a little bit through it, and I wound up switching to audio production, something that I'm more familiar with. And I graduated recently, like literally just like a week ago. I graduated, and to me, it's a big deal. Some people might not think it isn't, but to me, it is. Like I took over 10 years off from high school to then to go back to school, and I worked hard to get a degree, and I want to talk to you guys more about that, and maybe that'll be episode 2, is my experience with online school, or at least it'll be a topic of it. But I just want you guys to know, like, if you guys want something out of life, like, just because you can't do it right now doesn't mean it can't be something you can do in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case is. Like, if it's really something you have in your mind and your heart you want to get done, don't let anything stop you. Like, I know a lot of people look at me and being in this music business and saying, like, man, you're getting too old for this. But I look at it like, as long as I have supporters, friends, family, people I don't know, personally, still like checking for my music, checking for what I'm doing, I'm going to keep grinding and hustling. Like, I do this for the fans. I do it for the people that are here that enjoy what I do. I don't do it for the people that don't care or don't like it or think whatever they think. So whatever it is you want to do in life, if there's not a physical thing that prevents you from doing it, or if it's obviously this is with the asterisk of, like, if there's nothing other than your own self stopping you from doing it, then do it. If you want to go back to school, go back to school. If you want to open up your own business, open up your own business. Take your chances, live your life, and enjoy it. If you want to be in a polyamorous relationship, do that. If you want to be in a monogamous relationship, do that. Like, do whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else in the process. And I mean physically hurt. Like, you could hurt someone's feelings because you're moving on from your relationship or whatever. But I'm saying, like, if life is what you make of it. So chase your dreams, do your thing. And with all that said, that concludes my very first episode of Sleep Talk, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, leave some comments, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to follow me on my social media platforms, I am at SleepyJ on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, my Twitter handle is the @ sleep_E_J. So follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. It's at SleepEJ. Is the word sleep, the letter E, the letter J. All one word. Follow me on those. Those are my 2 most active things that I do, and I appreciate all of you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'm sending you guys nothing but peace, love, and positivity, positive lights, vibes, thoughts, and prayers. I salute you guys until next time.